Bosco from Joint Hands Green Life Trees. I'm explaining a concept about tree planting in schools. This is one idea that not so many stakeholders have embraced in the right way. So I'm sharing my concept. My concept is about the quality of trees that are planted, the quality of protection that they are given, and how they are nurtured to grow, as opposed to many cases in which stakeholders have planted trees and gone. And that's why if you visit any school around and ask when trees were planted, you'll be told trees have been planted in this school quite severally, but there's no single tree that is surviving, because we never consider about their survival, not even how to protect them. And so we normally talk about statistics of trees planted. So you mostly, when you walk into records, you'll find issues recorded, the number of trees, millions of trees that are talked about have been planted, but when you get to the ground, you do not see the trees. I'm explaining the concept of tree growing in schools. I'm speaking from Asar Johansson School, and this is one tree that we have grown, and we've been here like fortnightly to check on the trees that we planted in this school. The first thing is that when you plant a tree in a school, ensure that it is a large seedling. Now this seedling here was planted when it was almost a meter tall. Now this tree here is assigned to a student who checks on it every now and then to see that it does well. And then we have got a teacher who is in charge of the environmental club. That teacher is the patron to whom every child reports about the progress of their tree, because this is the concept that we'll see that all our schools are greened. The trees that we plant in school are also taken care of in terms of weeding to ensure that they remain safe. As you check around through this whole field, it is the number of trees that have been planted in the school for the time that we have been working here as Joint Hands Green Life Trees. So as you check around, you'll see so many trees, and these trees are planted all around the school field and every other area that a tree can occupy. We have not planted thousands of trees. We have planted a few hundreds. Actually, we've only planted about 150 trees in this school, but there are trees that are large, and a couple of them are shade trees. Now again, that is another factor. Many times when we get to a school, we want to plant trees that are always so common, but they do not support diversity. That's why we focus more on shade trees, indigenous trees, and fruit trees. Why? Because at school level, we will always have the need for shade. So take example of us at Johansson School. We have planted these trees all around the school field, and each tree is showing progress. And we visit this school from time to time to see how the trees are progressing. And again, we also consider that they have to be protected, as I've said before. Now, when these trees are planted around the school field, take example of this tree here. This is jacaranda. Jacaranda is a shade tree. When it is planted all around the field, it will create a good shade. And when the shade is created, it means that when field activities are ongoing, those who are perhaps spectating to sit in the shade. And sometimes classrooms can be just so congested. As a teacher, you want to conduct your sessions outside the classrooms, so you have an opportunity to sit in a shade. If you take example of the shade right behind me, these are only two trees, and this tree here is Terminalia mentalis. There are only two, but they have got a shade. I remember a time when this school had a closing ceremony, and the entire school could fit under 2 trees. So you do not have to plant thousands of trees in a school. You only need to plant few trees, give them the requisite protection, give them the right nurturing to see that they ultimately grow. Now, talking about our tree nurseries, we've got millions of tree seedlings. idea of protecting a tree may sound expensive, or sometimes you might explore which is the cheaper way to go. So we chose this method. This is bamboo. We got bamboo and split it and used it to protect the trees, and it is what we have done all across the school. So as you check on this one, we tied it all around, and so as you see here, this whole tree is protected. It means that even if children are playing around, the tree remains very safe. Now, because sometimes students might get notorious, you realize that this one had all the bamboo removed, and wherever it went, I can't tell, but luckily the tree is still surviving. The next step is to ensure we get more bamboo and protect it, because we cannot afford to lose it at this age. We've come a long way with this tree to see that right now it is this size. So protection of trees is very key to us, because it helps us to see that ultimately the seedling becomes a tree. And our idea is to see that these trees are planted. And we are looking for stakeholders to help us see that all our trees that you see in this video goes into the schools and other public institutions, because we are passionate about ensuring that we increase tree cover, we improve our environment, we protect our environment, and ultimately combat climate change, which is the greatest subject that is facing the world right now. Everyone is grappling with effects of climate change. And the best from us, Joint Hands Green Life Trees, is that we have the trees, we have the passion, we need your support to see that ultimately our trees go into schools and other public institutions, including riparian lands, hilltops, riverbanks, and that will have helped us to achieve our greatest dream, which is to improve tree cover for our society, our county, and our country. Thank you.